Good evening and welcome to this quick tutorial. This is going to be one on pencil gradients. So I'm only going to choose one set today and I'm going to do a gradient chart. So I'm just going to show you quickly. This is some of the charts that I've done with the different pencil sets that I've got. So you can do this with all the different pencil sets that you've got. So I've got up here I've got Caran d'Ache, got the Faber-Castell, Staedtler Mars Lumograph, the black one, Staedtler Norris. I've got the Derwent Graphite, which is the ones we're going to be doing today, and then I've got the Staedtler Mars Lumograph, which I've got the biggest set of here, which I use a lot. And as you can see, they vary. I mean, each brand will vary as well. So this is somewhat similar. So I've got like light pressure and the dark pressure so that you can see in between them. But you can also change the gradients by, if you're doing something, say, with a 2B, a preparation layer of 2B lightly, and you want to darken it up slightly but not too much, then you would assume naturally that you'll be going to the 4B or 6B or 8B, but not necessarily. You could either use a 2H or a HB, and you'll find that it will, as long as you're using light pressure, you'll find that it will darken the colour up slightly. So let me just get ready to turn over. So I've actually prepped here for the ones that we're going to be doing. There's my little spotted potato. Now, a handy thing to buy as well is a grayscale chart, which I've got one here. So this is ideal when you're doing when you've got your image, to find out what sort of value of grey that you're looking for, or what gradient of lead that you're looking for, or graphite should I say, in the pencil. So obviously it goes from dark to a lighter colour. On here there's 2, 4, 6, 8, there's 10 values. On here I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I've got 12 because I've got 6 pencils, and I'm going to do it. So what I've done is I've drawn 12 squares out. I think they're 2 centimetres by 2 centimetres each. Okay, so they're all joined across. The name at the top there is Derwent Graphite. H, now when you look at pencils, some of them will have, so on this one here we've got 8B. Let me just zoom in so you can see that a little bit better. Okay, so you've got 8B there, you've got a 2B there, 6B. There's a HB, which is sort of classed as in the middle. It's not hard and it's not soft. A 2H, which is a hard pencil, and then there's a 4B. So the B represents the blackness of the graphite, or some people say the softness of the pencil. So obviously the higher the number, and a B means the darker the colour you're going to get from that graphite. For the H, the harder it is, and again, higher the number, the more hard it's going to become. Now, with the H's, you do have to be careful, because obviously, because of the hardness of them, they don't apply as easily as the soft pencils, and you can actually cause indentations if they're too sharp. So some of the time, unlike with coloured pencils where we work with sharp pencils a lot of the time, on these ones we do work with sort of more of an edge like this there, which is sort of on one side, so that we can actually, if you hold the pencil and you're holding it close to the paper, you can get a smoother coverage. Okay, oops, put my supportive potato there so you can watch. Okie dokie, so what I've done is we've got H for the hard, B for soft. So we're going to work from the soft pencil, the hard pencil, up to the soft pencil. Okay, let me just move this along so you can see it clearer. There we go. Okay, so we've got them all in view. So I'm going to write at the top, if you look, I've got some little lines there. So I'm going to start off, we've got a 2H. The next one is a HB. What else do we have then? We go on to a 2B, 4B, 6B and an 8B. Now you could have a H there, you could have a B there, you know, so they can go on. Now the numbers usually range in the Bs, they go up to, well, in the Lumograph ones that I've got, they go up to about 11, 12B, and same in the H side. But for now we're just going to try these, which are the Derwent graphic pencil. So they're made in England. They've got, that's the HB there, and these have all got a red mark there. So we're going to start, so make sure you get the right pencil. So I'm going to start with the 2H. Now what I'm going to do is, we've got two squares here. So in this top square I'm going to use a light pressure, and then I'm going to apply a little bit more pressure here to get the darker tone that you can get from this one pencil. Now I'm holding the pencil that way. I'm not holding it in the conventional way like that, because you'll not get a light enough pressure. So I'm holding it quite far back, and I'm holding it like this so that I can hold it a little more horizontal to the paper. And also what I'm going to do to get a nice even coverage is, the strokes are going in one direction. I'm not going backwards and forwards like that. So I'm going that way with very light pressure. So I'm going in one direction. Okay. Make sure the square is filled in. So you'll probably hardly be able to see that, but, and then I'm still holding it in the same position, but this time I'm going to put on a bit more pressure. There's only a certain amount of pressure you'll be able to put on because of the way you're holding the pencil, and obviously I'm holding it quite far back, which is fine. But I'm holding it, the most important thing is I'm holding it horizontal to the paper, so I'm not going to get any scratchy lines, and it's not going to emboss the paper. So let me just tidy the edges up there. So that's the lightest and that's the darkest point of the 2H. Okay, so we've got those two colours there. So then I pop that pencil down, and then I'm going to move on to the next one, which if I look here is a HB. So again, holding it in the same method and holding it towards the back. The same amount of pressure. Now if you want to do it in smaller strokes so that you fill the complete square, that's fine. There we go. So if you look, that it is slightly, let me zoom down a bit. It is slightly darker than the 2H, but not that it's that noticeable. Okay. But this is the beauty of graphite, you only need that slight change. Now going back down to the bottom square, I'm actually just going to put on a little more pressure. So I'm putting on quite a heavy pressure, but because I'm holding it in the same place, same position, and I'm going to get the same consistent pressure as what I did when I did the H. And that's the most important thing, you try and creating that same amount of pressure. Okay, and again, there is a slight difference there. I'll zoom in a bit when we've got them all done. So the next one now, we're moving on to the soft pencil. So we're going to start with a 2B. There is one that's just a B, but in this particular set, what I've got is 6, I've only got the 2B. You're limited with what you get in like a set of 6 or a set of 12 or a set of 24. But to be quite honest, when you're doing pencil drawings with graphite pencils, you'll tend to find that you work with very few different pencils. You may work with a 2H, say a 2H, HB, and say a 4B and an 8B, something like that. And you should be able to get the full range of tones that needed for the image that you're doing within that range. Okay, so again, so holding it horizontally, same kind of pressure, so it's fairly light. So this is your light pressure. But obviously, because we're now going into the soft pencils, they will be getting darker because of the pigment in the graphite. Okay, and then back down here to this one, putting on a lot more pressure, doing smaller strokes just in one direction with the pencil horizontal to the sheet. Tidy the square up a bit. There we go. So you can start to see now these differentials in the colours. Okay, so the next one I'm going to move on to is a 4B. So this is a 4B. So this is another soft pencil, and you'll find this one is a lot easier and not scratchy. You don't see the lines as much. And again, holding it in the same position and do the same sort of pressure value, same kind of pressure on this one. What you should find as well doing it this way is, so if we're moving up, so this would be the next pencil from the 2B. And that's it at its lightest. Now that was the 2B at its heaviest, and there isn't much difference between those. And that's what you should find. Okay, and then now I'm putting more pressure on. Need to tip the pencil up a bit, it's a bit blunt, this one. Okay, so again you can see the difference, it's getting darker. So that one is the 4B. So now we're going to go on to the 6B. Again, same position. First start with your light pressure. One direction. So again, you can see not a lot of difference between them. And then now putting more pressure. Again, same direction. Putting the lines close together. So you're getting a more even value. Like that. Okay. And then the last one is the 8B. Okay, so again, light pressure. And then down on the bottom, the darker pressure. There we go. Okay, so now you can see we've got from similar to this. Oops. So we've got the light pressures coming up here, like that, to that level, and then on this side, if you pull it down that way, that's the darkest one, and then that goes up to that sort of level there. Okay, now what you can do as well, if you want to smooth them out a little bit, is I'm just using a cotton wool bud just to make them look a bit more even in tone. Like that. You see as they're getting darker, you can see how you can smooth out the tone more. Up and then go across to that one. So you can see you've got this gradual light to dark, and then come back here, do the same on this side. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to smooth them all the way along like that. You see how they're nicely smoothing in. And as you can see, you're going from getting even darker, so it goes light to that one and then back down and then that way. Okay, so that's one way of doing a grade, pencil grades of your pencil. So keep that in the book. I've just done this in my sketchbook, and so now I've got, so when I'm looking at an image, so say like something like this at the top here, I've got this image here, so if I want to move this around, so obviously I've got some really dark colours in here, so I can sort of judge. So it's more that tone and that, or that tone. It's got a little bit of that tone in, and then right at the top it's a darker tone there. So, you know, I can look here and which I can find which sort of corresponds best to these tones on the tonal value that I've got. Okay, so you may find some pencil brands work better than others, but this is an idea to do this. And if you do them next to each other, like so, I say these were 2 centimetre squares. I did the light across the top, light pressure, and a bit harder pressure with the same pencil. Label your pencil at the top, and then, you know, with however many pencil sets you've got. So I mean that one I've got from a 12B. It's all the way down. So if you look at it there, HB is the middle. So then it goes B, 2B, 3B, 4B, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12B. So that is a complete set without any missing. And then it goes on to the H's here, which are H, 2H, 3H, 4H, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, H. I haven't got the 11 and 12. And then I've got an F. Now, F means that one can be sharpened to a very fine point. So sometimes that comes in handy when you're doing an initial draw of your subject before you start using the pencils to do the shading or texture markings. So that's just a quick guide for you how to do this with all your pencils, and then you can see if you got them on in a sketchbook, it's easy for you to see, so that when you start looking at your image, you know, before when you've got it drawn out, look at the shadings on the reference photograph, and you will be able to probably from these the graphite scales that you've got, the grayscale finder, you may be able to find that you may mix up some brands of pencil. So, you know, there might be one, there is a Staedtler Lumograph Black set, which is slightly darker. So, you know, that would probably work better in an 8B. It would be darker than what this one would. So you can swap and mix your pencils. You know, that's quite a good thing to do. Another thing is if you've got mechanical pencils. Now, the equivalent HB mechanical pencil will be darker than a graphic pencil. It's just a point of fact. So just bear that in mind if you're doing very small areas and details, which is what I use the mechanical pencils for, then obviously they're going to be slightly darker. So always have a scrap bit of paper, and then when you've found on this grayscale off your reference photograph what sort of grey or tonal value you're looking for, then, you know, you can go across all of these and then do your mechanical pencils as well in the same way, and you'll be able to find out which ones will work best for you. I hope that's been some help to you, and I'll see you shortly in the next video, which is going to be I'm going to do a little project which is to do with textures and creating the different textures with graphite pencils. So This was a photograph that I took. It was a reference photograph I took from part of the wall of Scarborough Castle. I turned it into a black and white mono picture, and then I printed that, and then what I've done is I've tried to recreate, not exactly, but this has given me the inspiration to create some textures for old stone walls. So I'm going to do this as a little project for you in the next video. So I hope you enjoy that as well. And it shows you just using, all I used there was two different, no sorry, I used a mechanical pencil for the initial drawing, and then I used a HB and a 6B, and that's all that I have used. Okay, and the brand that I used was the Mars Lumograph, which is what I use a lot. But you can use any that you like. And, you know, it's not about the actual tonal colours. It's about creating texture. So, looking forward to seeing you in that video next. Okay, so I hope this was of use to you. And do it with, you know, if you buy new pencil sets, do it. We did it with the coloured pencils in a similar manner. But they are very good reference for you before you start out doing your sort of painting or coloured pencil drawing or your graphite drawing. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.